3 games. Week 12, Patriots. New England's pass rush gave Dak all kinds of issues. He was pressured on a season-high 35% of dropbacks, and you'll recall they didn't score a touchdown in that game and lost. The next week, Buffalo dials up the blitz, sending a member of the secondary on 12 dropbacks. That was the most times Dak Prescott has been blitzed. They forced an interception and had 2 sacks on those pressures. And then last week against Chicago, he completed a season-low 55% of his passes. It didn't help the Cowboys dropped 3 along the way, tying their most in a game this year. And they've not been able to target Amari Cooper, who is supposed to be their star receiver. Over the last 3 weeks, on throws over 10 yards, his Dak's yards per attempt is 3 yards less, and his QBR 40 points less when targeting Cooper compared to everyone else on the team.
I mean, obviously thankful to still be in the position to control our destiny. But yeah, we've got to get a win and we've got to play well. Simple as that. And momentum is something serious. We can get it on our side. This has been a streaky team in years. So you got to get that first one to get the second one. That's kind of just the mindset of focus on the day. Let's focus on now. Let's focus on this week. I'm not worried about the rest, and we will when that comes.
All right, so they play the Rams this week, and Bobby, I know you put together a tape for us this week to suggest that it may not be so pretty again.
Well, Dak Prescott's been phenomenal this year, but the last 2 weeks, outside the numbers, when he's been throwing the football, he's been one of the worst in the NFL, completing around 50% of his balls. Not great. So let's take a look at this. Here in the red zone, all the defenders are within 6 yards. Here's Amari Cooper locked up on a corner one-on-one on the perimeter. And so this is where they got to be in sync. As he's throwing the ball, the corner is high on him. This should be a back shoulder situation. But instead, he chooses to throw it deep. Amari's looking for it. He knows he can't get over the top. It's an incompletion. Now, they're playing the Los Angeles Rams this week with Jalen Ramsey. They've been one of the best teams since he came in over on a trade on defense. You see him here, Mitch Trubisky runs a little play action, draws up the linebacker up at the top of the screen. You're going to be able to see Jalen Ramsey keeping eyes back, understanding where he's going to go with the football, slides through there, makes a great break, breaks up the football. He's going to be locked up on Amari Cooper a lot this week, and it's going to be a rough situation, a rough go there for Dallas. That's why I think the Rams, they'll be able to maybe ram their way into the playoffs.
I mean, for the Cowboys, they could wind up losing another game. They could be 6-8 and still have that Philly game sitting out there and wind up winning the division. But here was what I teased in the open. Jason Garrett, who maybe has, he's tried everything he can try, put together a film of just all of their good moments, like clips of them succeeding this season, and showed that to the players this week.
That is his last motivational tactic.
Do you like it?
I don't like it. I mean, I know what it is. I don't like it because I know that I've experienced that before with Eric Mangini when he was on his way out with the New York Jets. It was the same thing. We're digging all the way down in a bag of tricks to try to motivate the team, and it's over with. It's done. It's set in stone. Jason Garrett will not be there next year, and now he's trying to figure out how to salvage this team and hopefully go on this quote-unquote streaky run that the quarterback talks about.
Here's the only thing I can say, Lewis, is that all of us can sit here and say, oh, they're done, they're terrible, coach getting fired. But inside that building, they have to be saying, look, guys, we still have a chance. As the division has not run away from us. Well, a chance to win the division, get in the playoffs, and see what happens.
You're right. They do. And what he's trying to do.
If you were on the team, you'd feel that way, right?
You lose the first wild card game. It doesn't even matter.
He's trying to do this. He's trying to tap into what their intrinsic motivation is. Like, look, guys, I know you're not listening to me. Okay? I'm not firing you up. So how about this? How about just watch yourself succeeding? And then you guys go home, and we talked about this last hour, and just be pros about it. Just go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take I'm going to have some pride in myself and try and perform better here. That's all he's doing. Because right now, he don't have to say a word. It doesn't matter.
Oh, they would have done that 5 weeks ago. That's what
you're
I'm
right.
saying.
I mean, that's the question about these guys. It's like, where's the trigger for all of them? We don't know.
They're in a similar situation last year. They're 6-5. The Saints coming to town. The Saints are rolling. And they win a nasty and ugly game, 13-10. And so they have loads of talent. I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
Their own quarterback says they're streaky.
And they're hoping to catch fire.
He said it, yeah. I mean,
I will just say this. It's going to be an unbelievable story when they play Baltimore in the Super Bowl. Okay, let me move on. Let's talk about the New England Patriots. They are currently being investigated by the NFL for inappropriately filming the Cincinnati sideline during Sunday's Bengals game in Cleveland. The Patriots have acknowledged a 3-person crew producing a web series titled Do Your Job didn't properly inform the Bengals of the filming. And, of course, it is the Bengals that the Patriots will play this weekend. For more, I want to bring in Mike Reiss from Foxborough, who covers the Patriots for us. And, Mike, how has that locker room responded to this recent investigation?
Well, Greeny, the message in the locker room is really from the players. This has nothing to do with us. Longtime safety and captain Devin McCourty compared it to Deflategate in 2014. He said this is completely different. He said back then that felt like a direct shot to the players because people felt like that was the reason they were winning on the field. He said this one is totally different. And Greeny, I would just give you a feel for the locker room. It is anything but tense. Walking out of there yesterday, the linebackers were gathered together after a long day of work, and the biggest thing on their mind was how do we get together a team bonding dinner over hibachi?
Okay, so the Cowboys are putting together movies, and they're all going out for hibachi. I mean, one way or another, there's different ways to try and do it. Let's talk, however, about the struggles that do matter, and that is another challenging week for that offense. They scored 16 points last week in a loss to the Chiefs. What is the team doing to try to rectify their problems on offense?
Well, the first thing I heard when I walked in the locker room this week after that game last week was from an offensive lineman who said, that performance was on us. We have to be better. For all the talk about the weapons around Tom Brady, if we don't play better as an offensive line, nothing will matter. Greeny, if they're held under 30 points Sunday against the Bengals, it'll be the 7th straight game for them that happens. And according to our great ESPN stats and information department, that would match the longest streak in the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick era, going back to 2005. But I will add this. I walked out of the locker room with Tom Brady a couple days ago, and Greeny, he's staying upbeat despite these struggles.
All right, Mike Reiss, so well done. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you after the game this weekend. Let me bring it here, and I feel like I want to phrase the question this way. We all watch every game they play. They're the spotlight team. And to watch them play right now is to think there's no way this offense is good enough to get this team to the Super Bowl. We see Kansas City and Baltimore and some of the other better teams. Can they, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, figure out some answers on the offensive side that gives them a legit chance to make it to the Super Bowl?
I don't know if they're going to really just stumble upon something, or rather they're going to be able to hit some kind of performance level, consistent performance level that makes you go, man, they figured it out. New England's going to win by complementary football. They're going to win by blocking punts, getting timely turnovers, grinding out a drive here and there. Tom hits a big play, Sony breaks a big run, and they're just going to have to outlast you. But you know what? I think they're built to do that. They're conditioned to play that way, and I think that's going to be the only way they're going to be able to get to where they want to get to.
And so everybody makes a big deal about Rob Gronkowski not being there as Tom Brady's weapon. But like last season when he came back, when he was healthy, they were able to run the football and do a terrific job of it. Over the second half of last season, they were able to pound the football, second in the NFL in rushing, 150 yards a game. That's a huge difference from where they're at right now. They're 29th in yards per rush. They're not able to get it done. And that was the change they made last year. That's not a change that's going to be able to happen this season. Bill will usually find something, but I'm just struggling to figure out what that potentially could be.
Yeah. They don't do anything well on the offense.
They don't, and Bobby stole my thunder here with running the football. But I will say that they can get it corrected because it's a lot easier to correct the offensive line when you have 7 guys, right? It's a 7-man front. You block him, here are the assignments, stay on your block, than to say, all right, wide receivers, these are the various coverages that you have to worry about. This is how you have to break your route off. So running the football, they can get that corrected. It'll be done.
Here's what I want to come back to your original point, Lewis, and that is it's all well and good to try and win games by blocking punts and grinding out a drive here or there, but you're not beating Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson 16-13. Right? That's just not the way this thing is going to go, right?
Yeah, probably not. But I will say this. Look, again, in those 2 games, okay, we're looking at the Baltimore game and we're looking at the Chiefs game. Baltimore game, again, people, when you watch that game and you go back and watch it, they were in that football game and they had some timely turnovers and penalties that really cost them, that got them out of it. In this game, they had a touchdown taken away from them against the Chiefs.
2 of them.
They earned it.
Yeah.
They earned them and then didn't get the points for them. So I'm telling you, whereas they're struggling, you know, considering what the standard of performance is up there in New England typically, they're still there. And they still have the greatest coach and the greatest winning quarterback of all time. So you can never count this team out. I don't care how ugly it looks.
And a great defense.
That's right. And no matter how ugly it looks, don't count them out.
It's your brain doesn't want to do it. Like you can't function.
And nor should it.
Yeah.
Because they'll make you look silly. I'm telling you, both of those games, they had their chances. They weren't just blown out where you just go, they stink.
Right.
They were right there.
All right, we'll see what winds up happening. We have a lot more football on this Football Friday coming your way, but there's another story this morning, and that is that former NBA Commissioner David Stern is hospitalized today in New York City after suffering a brain hemorrhage. The city's fire department responded to a 911 call in a Midtown restaurant yesterday afternoon and rushed the 77-year-old Stern to Mount Sinai Medical Center, where he had emergency surgery. There's been no immediate word on his condition. Stern was the NBA's commissioner from 1984 through 2014. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2014. We will have much more as we continue on Get Up this morning. More football. Lamar Jackson cementing his status as MVP. Is there a blueprint to stop him in the playoffs? We'll try and figure that out as we go. And someone's going to win the NFC East and host a playoff game. But should they? One coach has an idea that would fundamentally change the sport, and I hate it. You'll hear it as we continue. It's Get Up on ESPN.